Hi Lauren, I've got an exciting update for you today. We're going to be focusing on the lighting layout plan, but before we get to that, I wanted to focus on this door to the master suite. During our last meeting, I think the last outstanding design element we had to discuss was whether or not we're going to do this big round opening here or something perhaps a bit narrower and a bit more square so that we don't have to worry quite as much about a little bit of light creeping through past the curtains. So this was the sort of the original design here, this half round opening here, and it was sized just to meet a 6'8" tall by 6 foot wide double door. But we could take a look at some other options. So let's take a look at, I think actually the next option I want to show you would be 3. Yeah. So study 3 here doesn't really sacrifice on any amount of glazing. In fact, maybe it takes it to the next level in terms of the amount. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done here, but basically I've narrowed the window just to fit 3 3 foot wide sections of glazing here with a lower hopper window that could kick out to let the little pets in and out. But then we go straight up to the ceiling, and again, I'm looking at a little bit of a messy geometry right here. I don't even know if I'd want the circle window there. But I think what's really special about this is that when you're in the living room looking through this, you get to really appreciate the vaulted ceiling of the master bedroom through these windows here, through these high windows here. So I thought that was worth considering. And of course we could scoot on into the master suite, and a lot of cleanup needing to happen here, but we would move this beam down, and that's what would host or hold the drapery pocket for your draperies, for your full height draperies here. And then we would still do that bottom up shade to protect the upper window. But we have some other options to look at too that maybe don't involve quite so much glass. So here is an option that I also like. This is, oops, and we want to put on the circle window here. There we go. So this here, what I'm calling study 4, is really simple. So it's just 3 3-foot sections of glass. This would be a sliding patio door that slides over this door. And then this would be a fixed piece of glass up here with, again, that hopper window here that opens from the bottom, swings out. I think that'd be really cute to let the pets in and out to the courtyard or to your bedroom through that opening there. I think this is quite lovely too. Of course, I think I like the excitement of the circle and the uniqueness of the circular window, but I do think that this is quite alright. It's a nice amount of glass. The inside's not quite cleaned up, but still, you'd get a lot of connection to the courtyard through these amounts of glazings here, and still a nice view of the sky through the circle window up there. And I think I have one more option to show you, and that's really just sort of a minor modification where we say, well, let's stick with the doors in the, let's set it 3 again. Let's stick with the doors being swinging doors, and then let's flank that with side lights. And again, I think, once again, doing the low little hopper window down here would be great. So those are 4 more options for you to consider, or I should say 3 more options in addition to the original. So I'll send you some screenshots of those, and you can let me know how you feel about them. I think all of them have their merits. So let's meet to discuss that. Let's move on to the electrical plan now. So let's go ahead and move this over, and we'll see the reflected ceiling plan, which I sent you last week. Now I've got these bright orange elements here to indicate the location of lighting elements. So some of these you're already going to be quite familiar with. Like, for example, the wall sconces are indicated by this symbol, and all these symbols are broken down right here in the legend. So if you want to refer back to that, you can. We've got wall sconces all around. We've got some security lights. We've got some LED lights in the bay. I'm sorry, bay window. Excuse me. some large 2x4 LED bay windows in the garage. Wall sconces on the. Actually, let's go check out some of these spaces. Wall sconces on either side of the entry furniture element, and a series of mini pendants that would hang down in a cluster. I've got a series of can lights that go down the hall and space themselves quite nicely on the narrow elements of the wall or of the ceiling, so that the light is centered on the solid wall piece. So any art that you're going to put on here is going to be nicely illuminated, and we're not going to be directly illuminating the windows. So we're just offset from the windows. I think this is really quite perfect. I can imagine that when you're outside in the courtyard, come outside. Let's move, camera. It's going to be really nice because it's going to be a little harder to see the lights. Certainly people will get some angles of the lights, but it doesn't feature prominently in the center of the window. And I'm really happy with that. And it also just so works out so that the door here at the very end, which has this really lovely trim element, this cased opening, gets one final light centered right on the cased opening here, which I think is really nice and will be nice too. Oh, went way too fast there. Nice too when we're lighting this up at night. You won't really see the light right here, but this cased opening is going to be very brightly illuminated and shining through with light. Very excited about that element. The gym and the office, I'm showing two different versions of lighting here. They're both pretty simple. I'm not going too overboard with the built-in lights for these spaces. The most important thing for me was to be able to see the vaulted ceiling being uplit. So here in the office, I've got a series or a cluster of mini pendants, hopefully that are somewhat directional, so that as you figure out your workstations here, you'd be able to pinpoint the lights directly where you want the light and where you don't want the light to reflect off of a computer screen, for example. So I'm really excited about seeing a cluster here over the desk area. And I think a floor lamp or a desk lamp would be enough to service any sort of a furniture area that might be in this corner. But we could talk about doing a little bit more built-ins for these spaces. I just don't think it's really necessary. But let me know what you think. Here in the gym, just one single hanging pendant light that's going to do a lot of uplighting to illuminate the vaulted ceiling. I didn't think we'd want to do too much built-in lighting or down lighting into the gym space, but let me know if you disagree there. The guest bedroom has something a little bit different. So we've got, like we do in the gym, just a single pendant hanging down between the two center beams. But then I'm showing just for now a placeholder series of mini pendants that maybe interact with Orion's belt if you are going to do anything like a starry sky motif here. I know I'm getting ahead of myself there. So I'm showing something here just so that the contractor knows that, hey, budget for some wires and some control, and that way the electrical engineer too can know to budget for a switch to control this sort of decorative feature here separately from the main room overhead light. Let's see. So let's go back to the kitchen, and we knew about the big pendant that I wanted to have happen over the island, but now, and I also was showing these sconces flanking the kitchen sink. So you're seeing those on the plan now. We've got the LED strip lighting happening above the cabinets here, above the cooktop. And so really the only thing that's been added are some additional can lights. And I didn't want to go overboard and put them in each bay. I think it's enough to see them just in the first and third bay. But if you wanted a little more lighting, certainly we could incorporate some additional can lights here. But here are the 4 can lights that I am showing. Now in the dining room, music area, living room, the great room. I've shown a little bit more cam lighting than in the kitchen, but just because the room is so long. But what's really sort of special, what I love a lot about the way I've laid out the lighting is that just like we were doing in the hallway, where the lights were centered on a solid wall element, not on the window, I've done that same motif here in the great room. And because we have these deeper beams hanging down, when you first look, you can see the cam lights closest to you because of the angle you have, but this one's almost hidden by the beam. The rest of them back here you can't see. Really, I guess it's just this one bay that you can't see. I don't want to upplay too much the ability not to see these cam lights. Certainly they're going to be visible, but the fact that they're tucked into the beams, I think is just going to be really nice. It's going to even further diminish lines of sight directly onto the light fixture. Even though it has a diffuser lens, why not conceal it a little bit? So I just really like this. I think it's quite simple. All the light will be quite evenly dispersed through the space. All the light seems to have other lights connected to it. So I'm really happy with this. But I want to hear your thoughts and make sure that you're happy with it too. We could consider some other alternatives, or I can walk you through some other alternatives that I was considering. And then I think, nothing changed here in the master. Still showing the same 3 lights here at the large vaulted ceiling here. And then maybe one thing that changed a bit was the courtyard lighting. So I've gone ahead and said, hey, wouldn't it be fun just to do a little bit of a zigzag with some more of these string lights. I don't think that would be a concern for anything about cats, but I could just see some birds perching on the wires, giving the cats something to look up at and chirp about. I also just think it would really illuminate the outdoor courtyard quite beautifully, rather than just having all the lighting limited to the pergola structure. Let's take advantage of that and the walls that we have here and just do a little zigzag of these string lights, just to provide a little bit more ambient lighting. We'll still have plenty of accent lighting happening at the wall areas. Any art that you might put on these walls can get beautifully illuminated. And then one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Lauren, was the back porch. So whereas in the courtyard I went pretty heavy with the string lights and all the wall sconces, for the back porch area I've gone really light on the lighting. Just 2 lights flanking the outside bay of windows. I've even omitted the lights here at this window. And I wonder how you feel about that. Would you want to see more lighting back here, or like me, do you consider this back porch to be a bit more secondary and perhaps could be illuminated less intensely? So let me know what you think there. If you wanted more lighting, certainly introducing 2 more wall sconces here flanking this window would make a lot of sense and tie in quite nicely with what's happening back here. Or we can introduce a few can lights up here, but we should discuss whether or not we're even going to enclose this soffit, or if we want to just see more of a simpler construction for the underside here. So let's talk about that in detail at our next meeting as well. All right, Lauren, I look forward to hearing your feedback on this lighting plan and on the window design into your master suite. Thanks, Lauren.